Welcome to my craft room. Today I'm going to show you how I made this under the page pocket tuck, I guess you would call it. I got the idea from something from Scrapbooking with Me, where she made something that went under the page like this, but I'm not sure what exactly it was. I saw a sweater. So that's what my mind came up with. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. I'm going to start with this piece, which I need to cut down to 11 inches tall by 8.5 wide. Let me cut that and I'll be right back. Okay, and once we get that cut, what we need to do is score it at 2.5 and 6 3/8. So what you're going to want to do is fold it over. The longer side is the one that folds in first. And then we'll have the shorter side, which will come over and cover it. Like that. Now what we want to do before we do any gluing or anything like that, we want to go inside and cover this part here and here, because we are going to have a V-cut, as you see, here, and we don't want to see that white paper backing. So we want to cover it with something. So let me find some scraps and I will get right back and show you how to put those down. Okay, I found these two pieces and I think they will work nicely. They're very neutral, so they would go with it very easily. I gotta make sure that they fit, and I think I need to trim them off just a tad more. Just another 1/4 of an inch, I believe. Okay, yep, that'll work. Now what we're going to just do is glue the back and glue them straight down. I hope everyone is doing good today and are ready for their Halloween festivities or their pumpkin carving or whatever kind of way you celebrate the holiday. I've been hoping for some excellent movies to scare me. But I don't know. I've got some backups recorded just in case the night is a flop. And I used to watch the Ghost Hunters and a few other shows. Sometimes the Ghost Hunters was like the whole night long. But, you know, it kind of gets boring after a while, because you don't really find much. And so I like the old-fashioned movies, like Dracula and the Wolfman, and I think they're a lot scarier than these nowadays things. But I just don't know. We'll have to see what they do in the movie lineups. If not, I've got me some goodies recorded that will occupy my time. All right. My glue is still spouting a little bit. It likes to come up out of there. And it looks like it's still coming, so I'll show you what I do. I usually, if the banging doesn't take care of it, I'll go ahead and clean that out and put it back on there and see how that works. There we go. All right, our next step, and I have a little bit of fuzz here. My cutter doesn't do a very good job. I can tell you that. So where we've got the fold here, we're going to actually fold this down and make us a little V. This is going to be the V-neck for our sweater. And we got to do this on both sides. And there we go. We're going to give that a little glue. Make that hold down. We can actually bone folder it. I'm using the edge of my crease there to, whoops, help me get that lined up. Well, rats, I forgot to put my phone on airplane mode. Let me see if I can take care of that. There we go. I won't have that interruption again. I'm forever forgetting to do that. Oh well. You got to hear a little music. Oh, okay. I made this sweater for my winter journal. That was back in January. And I had been meaning to make this little sweater for a while, but I wanted it to be more in season. So I had to wait for it to get chilly. I had picked out this one actual sweater pattern paper to use, but it was in black and grays and whites, and I like the blue tone that I did with this one. Okay, so what happens next is the long side goes in first and the other goes in second, and I made this with buttons. I have these white little buttons. Now, I'm not going to use as many this time, but I need to measure this out to figure out where my buttons need to go. So give me just a second, and I'm going to show you how I poke the holes and figure out where they go. Okay, I figured out where I wanted my holes to be, and I'm only going to do 3. That was just a little bit too many for me to deal with right now. So I went in here and used my Tim Holtz ruler, and I made it to where it was 2.5 up and 2.5. I mean 1.5 up and 1.5 down. So I've got them 1.25 inches apart. So if you like that dimension, go with it. If not, you can either make a hole. You could actually glue on a button if you didn't have these little guys. You can do a regular brad if you'd like, because there was all kinds of different buttons. They had gold buttons and different type of things like that. So you could use anything in your imagination. You could even do bling. If you want a diamond button, go for a diamond button. So what we're going to do is go in here, and I'm going to put this in each one before I do anything else. Okay, much better. I think I like that spacing apart more than that one. This is more true to life. Okay, so now the good thing about this is if you get all your little brad legs going in that one direction, you're going to be able to glue it down to the other paper here and don't have to like hide it for your tags to go in easily. Our next step would be to, I thought to put like a little collar on here. And I got to figure out where to cut it. I don't want it to hang over too much. I think that might be just right there. So let me fold it. And I got these little doilies from Scrapbooking with Me. And they're Doodlebug Design Incorporated. And they're a mini paper doily. And they're really cute. And I love the color. It's like a blue. I guess it's showing. It's not as dark as it's showing in the screen here. It's more of a lighter robin's egg blue. If you're in the United States, robin's eggs, you'll know exactly what your color will be for that. Now, what we're going to do is actually cut in half, because we're going to have part of this going over to the back side, so I don't have a raw edge there. And then that other half will go on the other part. So let's get the back side glued on first. All right. Let me, oops, what did I do with my, now I can't find my the thing that goes on my glue. Oh, there it is. It's on top of my stencil there. Well, because it's not wanting to feed me any glue. Let's see if that helped any. Yeah, I want this to be a nice icy kind of color to where it gives you a snow feel, a snow vibe. We're going to do this first to see where it's prompted. There we go. Now we're going to go under here. And we're just going to give it a little bit of glue and a few spots just to hold it down, especially near the edges. There we go. I got a little bit of glue seep. Oop, I went over my button too. Right button. There we go. I fixed it. Now I got to do the other side. And I will be right back as soon as I get these on here, since you saw how I did the first one. Okay, that part's accomplished, and what we're going to do now is glue these two together. Now before, so I could figure out what distance I had, all I did was fold this in half and score that down. So I knew how big each one of my sides was going to be to get my button numbers. So now all I have to do is put my glue around my buttons here and come down the line and then glue it down to the other side. There we go. I'm going to get in here with my bone folder and do a little burnishing. It kind of looks like grandma's sweater now with that kind of a collar on it. I thought that'd be a cute use for those little guys. I haven't figured out what to do with them yet. All right, our next step, because that part is accomplished. I'm going to burnish our edge again, since we're set there. Now, the next part is the tag itself. We're going to take and this is a piece that is, let me see what I write down. The tag is 3 7/8 across and 10.5 tall. So what I did is then I scored at 7 5/8 at the very top, and that is the part that's going to go over to make the tag head. And what I did originally is I wanted it to look like a head sticking out of the sweater. So that's why I went with it this way. So what we're going to do now is cut this out, and I just traced from the one I did previously. But it's just, I used the circle that came in this kit, and it's not exactly a number. I mean, I'm doing the wrong side there. A number that's a whole number. It's more like 2 1/4 inch circle. And then I used a little snowflake out of this kit as well. So what I did is I cut my circles out, and then I've also got the negative, or the positive, which is the actual snowflake, but we're using both. And then I've got this as well, which is vellum, translucent vellum, and it's just a little bit bigger than the actual circle, and you'll see why in here in just a second. The thing we have to do here is cut this down. Now you can make some kind of a circle and just a straight line going across if you would prefer. I was just trying to mimic shoulders. So we'll do this, and we want the top to be still attached. So it's got just a little bit of a flat up there, but I don't think anybody will notice. Okay, let me get this cut out. Okay, I got that cut out, and that's what it looks like. I'm trying to remember if I told you to score this at 2 1/2 and 6 3/8. I believe I did, but my dimensions will be in the description box just in case I've forgotten anything. Okay, now what I need to do is go in here, and on my die cut machine, I'm going to cut out a circle on each side of this, just about right there. And I'll be back as soon as I get all those done. Now, if you don't have a die cut machine, never fear. You can use a piece, like a punch, a circle punch. You can draw it out and cut it out, whatever you need to do. Now, if you prefer not to do this step, that's fine. You could just make a regular tag and stick it down in here. It wouldn't have to be the way I'm making it. I just thought this would be kind of different. And what we're going to do next is we're going to put our piece of vellum in here. And it should be just about the right size. And it is. So let me go ahead and put me a little dot of glue around here. I don't want to do too much. Just enough to hold that in. I'll do the same for this side. And I'm going to lay that in here. Hopefully I don't have to trim anything. No, I don't. And I'm going to put that down. Whoops. Before I put that down, I need to do more gluing. I need to glue all the way around the outside of this. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I did this. And you know, I never write down my instructions. Okay, there we go. I'm going to get this on here straight as we can. I'm going to rub it down. There we go. And that part is done. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our circles in here. And on these, I went and I used alcohol marker to give that color. And actually, I may have colored it on this side. But anyhow, that gives you the color that you see there, like a stained glass window. But with this one, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do it with the translucent vellum on the other side to be like a snowflake. And the blue here, it gives the illusion of the frosty look. And put a few little dots in here where we want to make sure that gets down. Oops, unless your nose gets stuck in there. Let's see. There we go. I guess you are about ready to start some winter journals. Everybody seems to be getting fired up to do their December dailies. I made my mother one of those the other year. It was kind of fun. And I made her all kinds of different things in there. But a December daily is where, and I had to get it to her at the beginning of December. That's the thing. Because she was to write down when she did her decorations, when she put up her tree, and all of her other stuff, her lights. When she went to shop, she could make lists. It was kind of a really neat concept. I'd always heard of a December daily and never knew what it was. So if any of you out there have not looked into that, you may check on that. It's a really different type of a journal that people are making at this time of year. All right, what I'm going to do is try to match up to what I've got behind. That may be why I never put one on the back side of that one. It's kind of hard to match these guys up. Oh, I think that's good enough. And we can see through it just a bit. Yeah. It's a little off, but that is okay. It's perfectly imperfect. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else to my cards. I had little snowflake punches on those. I'm not going to worry with that with this one. I'm going to put my vellum into this side, and I'll be right back. Okay, so our tags are finished. Our little shirt is done, our sweater. Ooh, my tag is too big. I'm going to have to trim that down. Hold on just a second. How do you like that? I had my shoulders a little too broad. So now it's fitting in there nicely. Now you've got a little bit of extra things here, which if you look at this one, I used a little snowflake in here. And that would be best to be glued before you glue up this edge here. But if you would rather, you can actually take these and make them into a little circular snowball. I mean, you can glue that onto here, and you can glue two of them back to back. Or you could take and just put you a plain piece of paper, or leave it white, whichever you'd prefer. And that could be written on. That could be a little tag that you tuck somewhere in a shallow pocket. So that's the way I would finish it off. I would use those somewhere else in your journal, which would add to the color scheme and everything. Now, where this was in my winter journal was right back here, and I used a little tiny paper clip, one of those little Tim Holtz guys. But you can actually use a regular paper clip if you'd prefer. And I just tied a little bit of a string around it to give it the pretty look. But it goes right underneath of your page, wraps around like this, and this is where your paper clip comes in handy. I try to get it as close to the edge as I can, and then I paper clip it up a little higher. There we go, and it stays right in there. And I tried to pick colors that went with the alcohol ink that I used. But I really appreciate everybody coming. I would love to have a thumbs up if you got some ideas and some inspiration from this crafting. And everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.